Hello, and welcome to this introductory video around infrastructure development in Rwanda. In this video, we'll cover a little bit about WASAC, the Ministry of Infrastructure, as well as a few other public-private partnerships, projects that have been completed, and regulatory frameworks thereof. This video is meant for businesses that are looking to work on water, electricity, transport, and other types of projects in Rwanda. Whether, like us, you just purchased a farm and you're looking to develop it, bringing water and electricity, or if you're working on a sustainable town development, or if you're just trying to improve the logistics around your operation or considering coming to Rwanda for business, this video is meant to help you understand the regulators, how they work, the processes, and get started with knowing where to look, where to go, understanding the digital transformation that's currently taking place in Rwanda, and more. All right, let's dig in.
I would like to caveat this video by saying that to cover Rwandan infrastructure is a monster of a task, and this video is just an introduction. We're going to look over a few case studies. We're going to look over a case study whereby we have participated in, and we are going to also talk about, at a very high level, the ministries, how to find contractors, various processes, and more. Let's get started. So there are nearly numerous ongoing projects geared towards hydroelectric power generation, sustainable urban city development, railway infrastructure, AI-ready data centers, which is quite interesting, and greenpreneur-led projects, along with general water and electricity accessibility projects that are happening across Rwanda. There are obviously a lot of government agencies and NGOs working together towards sustainable development goals. That would be a different topic, but there are so many projects led by private interests, NGOs, government agencies, and more, as is in the case in most places. But what's happening in Rwanda is, especially in the region, very unique, and the energy and what's happening is quite phenomenal. All right, let's take a look at what we'll talk about. So first, we'll start with Rwanda Development Board. Now, the Rwanda Development Board, or RDB as it's usually called, is the central repository for getting things done, especially for foreign firms. We'll talk about in the next slide how they have an online portal where you can access all of the e-services and dig more into that. Then we'll do a project case study. This case study will cover a farm that we recently purchased and the regulatory approval timeline for our project and how that compares with a larger project or a bigger infrastructure project. We'll also talk about some of the things that we've learned along the way. Next, we'll get into finding the right contractors. Well, you're going to build infrastructure out in Rwanda, you need to know who to work with. And so we'll talk about a few of the directories that are out there and more. Then we'll look at ongoing mega projects in Rwanda. From there, we'll slide into a new initiative that's ongoing for the next 5 to 8 years, which is a big emphasis by the Ministry of Information Technology on AI, building new types of data centers that are ready for AI training and more, as well as green city initiatives. Now, there are so many green city initiatives and there is so much funding that's happening around those that it's really its own thing. So we're just gonna brush over that real quick. And in the end, we're gonna go through a summary. We're mostly gonna focus on the first case study, which involves our farm and the infrastructure and our personal experience and what we've learned. But we're covering a lot more of this other stuff so that it can really make it easier for other people. And this was put together as a way just to be an introduction and a quick glance look at things. These slides will likely change over time, especially a lot of the case studies, because there's just so much. And with that said, let's get started. All right, so first we have rdb.rw/e-services. This is a website where you can get approvals for fishing licenses, for land use licenses, for approvals for just the various government agencies. As you can see, all of these blue boxes are different types of agencies, Ministry of the Environment. And so RDB is best worked with in person. It's highly recommended from many of our sources who work within the government, as well as others that right now doing business in Rwanda, it's best to go there. When you're in Rwanda, it's much easier to do business. Outside of Rwanda, some of the e-services have room for improvement, and that's something that the Ministry of Information Technology is working incredibly hard at, and we look forward to watching the progress there. But there is a digital transformation happening, and it's quite exciting. The first case study deals with a farm that we purchased recently in Yamata. Now, Yamata is in the Bugesera district. This is right outside of Kigali, about an hour, hour and a half, depending on which part you're going to. Our particular property is located here, where it says property, and it is about 300 meters from water and electricity, and we're working to bring access. Now, if you're working on a small project, the first place you'll go is the district office. So in our case, we're in the Bugesera district, so we'll go to the Bugesera district office. They will help with right-of-way, so other property owners who may own property or have leaseholds that we need to get approval from, and then we would contact WASAC. You take your title deed and you present it to WASAC, and the process is about 3 weeks. 1 week for WASAC to come survey the property, suggest some solutions, and then about 2 weeks to come back with a quote and to begin work if there is an agreed upon project. And WASAC is a public-private partnership that is the dominant force in water infrastructure. Now, for a larger project, usually you would start by engaging directly with the RDB through an attorney or through a legal consultant, and then they would wrap in the Ministry of Infrastructure, Ministry of the Environment, RURA. There are several other ministries, but these are the ones that come up most frequently and are the most likely that you will engage with at a very minimum. And so it is important to be familiar with these agencies, or rather with these authorities, ministries, and those are for larger projects. From our experience, one of the common themes for foreign firms when they are working in Rwanda is that they focus on identifying and obtaining property that's near to water sources like lakes and rivers. This is both for energy and water availability. So that's something that we'll be looking to down the line, and it's something that can really lower long-term costs. And again, this is a vast oversimplification, but if you get in touch with your district office and WASAC, if you're doing a small project with water and electricity, you should be okay. And if you get lost, or if you're working on a larger project, or you need more right-of-way across a longer stretch of land, it's important to reach out to a legal representative, as well as get in touch with the RDB, which can really help with moving things forward. And the Ministry of Infrastructure is an absolutely phenomenal branch and a ministry that is very transparent, that provides lots of information, and in a candid way that I think more ministries in the world should or could learn from. So they do a really good job over there. All right, so next we'll talk about finding the right contractors. So I'm just going to breeze through this, but there are a few industry associations such as the Rwanda Private Sector Federation, or PSF, and the Rwanda Association of Local Government Authorities. And these organizations can provide information on potential contractors, etc. Additionally, there are online business directories such as the Rwanda Trade Portal, Yellow Pages Rwanda. This slide will likely update soon, so I won't stay on it too much, but this is the basics. One really important area is that when you're dealing with energy, you will be dealing with REG. I didn't mention that in the slide above, but REG is the Rwanda Energy Group, and they focus on bringing your electricity in. So they will be involved even up here. So REG will be here if you're not just focusing on water. So electricity, REG. In this slide, we talk about some of the big mega projects. So there's the Bugesera International Airport. So that's right outside of Kigali, and it's the thing that everyone's talking about. It's set to be completed in about 2 years, so 2025 or 2026. And there are a number of other large-scale projects mentioned. One is the Kivu methane gas project, which is set in Lake Kivu, and there's a lot of methane in there, and they're using that for electricity, which is really amazing. That lake also has live volcanoes, from my understanding, and it can be a bit risky as the volcano is set to erupt, from my understanding, once every 100 years or so. So that's something to look out for in the future. We will not be working close to that lake, but I have heard also that the methane project is set to reduce methane levels in the lake, and that is also good. Next, so the Ministry of ICT and Innovation, Information Communications Technology, they have released a national AI policy, and that's highlighted here over in the future. That's quite interesting. I'll leave a link in the description to that PDF. I'll leave a link to sustainable green city development. So there's one major city or community that's being built to be sustainable, and that's quite interesting. Rwanda is planning to be a developed nation by the year 2035, and you can learn more about that by looking at Vision 2050, which I'll leave as well. Additionally, we have some past successes, so partnerships with the World Bank through the SWAP program, and really successful. And one of the things about Rwanda is it's known across Africa as being the most transparent when it comes to foreign partnerships, and a lot of the big projects have a history of being highly successful. There are also a number of really innovative ongoing developments, such as Kigali Innovation City and more. These slides will likely update as well, and there's just too much to go over. So let's highlight one. So there's the World Bank Collaboration and Digital Transformation. So this is a $100 million project, and it is focused on bringing digital literacy as well as smart device financing. There is quite a bit that's happening there, and so that's one project that we wanted to highlight as a segue into more infrastructure projects in Rwanda. So there's so much going on, and these will be updated, but I'm leaving them here, and you can find the slides as well. Road network expansions, water transport, and urban developments happening. There's a goal to get, within the next few years, 100% coverage for piped water and grid electricity, as well as off-grid sustainable solar powered. In summary, and these are the key takeaways I think for, at least for small to medium-sized businesses that are establishing in Rwanda. Smallholder projects typically interact with WASAC and potentially the RDB, but RDB is always a great source. Large projects typically interact with the RDB and then the Ministry of Infrastructure, Ministry of the Environment, and potentially when you're dealing with telecommunications. But the 5G connection is so good in Rwanda and across Rwanda. I had an amazing experience. I actually preferred using my 5G was so reliable and so much faster than most of the Wi-Fi and I used Airtel, that I barely ever used Wi-Fi. So when you need right-of-way or an easement, you must get those contracts. Usually you go to your district office, they get in touch with the other property owners or leaseholders, and there's that. And then most foreign firms typically opt for facilities directly near water masses to lower long-term costs around both water and electricity access. So if you're planning on developing a farm, or if you're going to be developing other infrastructure, factory manufacturing, that might be something to consider. This was just a quick overview, and there's so much to go into, but I hope that the summary and the key points were useful. If you need help or want to understand more about some of these areas, please feel free to reach out. The energy and what's happening in Rwanda is quite amazing, and we're excited to share a little bit of what we've learned and be a part of that journey. Thanks for watching.